Well, hello everybody. It's just so fantastic to be back at Think Future and talk to you about, we've heard about plasticity, we've heard about imaginaries, and now we're going to talk about unicorns. So I've entitled it Of Unicorns and Other Innovation Mythology because a lot of us that are here feel and know we need to be innovators. So let's talk about unicorns. So last year, I had the pleasure of also being on the stage, and I spoke about chasing elephants, not mice, right? And joining the dots as really important ideas if we're going to sort of make change at the scale and with the sense of urgency that we need. And for many of the innovators in the room, they might say, okay, that was so last year. And it was. But it's really important for us to keep loving the problems that we have and not to feel like we always need a new thing. But I'm not going to talk about chasing elephants again. I'm actually going to talk about unicorns. And the reason I'm going to talk about them is because 1.3 billion children will be born in the next 10 years. And the children on the screen represent in pretty much empirical proportion who those children are likely to be. The vast majority of them are going to be in Africa and Asia, and the vast majority of them are going to be born into households that are poor. So we can, that is a 1.3 billion, that is like a really big number, right? And that's 10 years, that's a very short time, right? So we need to think in a very big way, and in fact, we need to think very innovatively. We need breakthrough solutions. We need new ways of doing things. And that's why we call on unicorns. And we hope and think and believe, I think rightly so, that we need to dream big, we need to think outside of our current paradigms, and we need to leap or fly from where we are to where we need to be if we're going to make a dent, right, on the scale of the issues we're dealing with for the next generation of young children who are being born as we speak. So I'm a big believer in unicorns, but I wanted to share some cautionary tales about them. And the first cautionary tale is you can't ride a unicorn. So it's really important that as we invent unicorns and think about all the innovations and think outside the box and in our imaginaries, that we really focus on the utility in the context in which we operate. And in that way, I want to bring into the room, alongside our unicorns, the much undervalued but very important mule. The humble mule, and I want for the rest of this conference for us to think about how our solutions lie in some combination between unicorns and mules. And one of the next tales of caution I want to share is that it's really important to know your ABCs before you abracadabra. You know, Mark Zuckerberg made Facebook for the people on his contact list, right? And when we innovate, it's really important to think about the people we're innovating for and with. Because really knowing our customers, really understanding, empathizing with, and engaging with, and having proximity with the people for whom our beneficence or our invention or our innovation is designed, is an extremely important principle and is all of our responsibility as innovators, and to understand where and who the innovators might be. Another one is that unicorns look different here. And this is really about the importance of contextual relevance. We've heard some fantastic examples, we've seen some themes and some truths about humans that may be universal. But the the specificities of what works in different contexts, of what matters in different contexts, of what constitutes even value and success. What even does a good childhood mean? And how is it interpreted is very different in different contexts. And so I just encourage us to think contextually when we think about unicorns. The next one is use the right unicorn for the job. There are lots of things that look really cute and fluffy and shiny, but they turn out to be, and they also look very new, okay? But they turn out to be kind of dime a dozen, and they don't last very long. And so I think it's really important for us to be stress testing ourselves, not get carried off on our flighty whims, but to really be keeping ourselves honest on what is the right unicorn for the job. Number 6, princesses don't always need rescuing. Now, there are 2 reasons for this. I mean, the one is that princesses just ain't what they used to be. I mean, we kind of can rescue ourselves most of the time, and, we're all okay. But the other reason is that, good intention, beneficence, heroics of the givers, and the charitable ones, is a very important, being charitable and being beneficent is a very important part of human interaction and social capital. But its likelihood to change the world is fairly limited, right, in and of itself. So it's just a challenge really out to everyone that, knock down the tower, don't get it there in the first place. There's lots of ways to think about what the princess needs to do that may not always need a prince. It's true. It's true. So when we think about innovation, a lot of people think about tech and, breakthrough innovation that's tech-enabled. And I think this kind of speaks for itself. We're all kind of aware of there's the good and the bad and what happens. But I just wanted to give it this perspective. Unicorns are often operating in an environment that is itself a fragile ecosystem. And we have, very, very traumatized communities where everybody's still managing to laugh and engage in reciprocity and make things work and hold it together. And those are fragile human ecosystems where a lot of good stuff is happening. And sometimes unicorns can just come in there with the best intention and make a tear with their nice horn. But there's some good news, some good fortunes, happy endings, some would call it. The first is that unicorns are really good in combos and collaborations. Now, the good thing about zebras and gnus is that they're natural collaborators, and they actually take on big things. They fight off predators and things because they collaborate. They're very good at that. Unicorns and mules, not so much, but they can be an incredibly powerful combination. So I think when we think about what it takes to change big systems, some of the things are breakthrough innovation like tech. Some of the things are big global campaigns. Some of them are, just amazing, unexpected, mobilizing speeches and rousing things. But a lot of what it takes to make system change is quite mundane and quite boring stuff. And it's grunt work and it's hard work. And even running innovative tech next best things past the pitch is actually hard, right? Amazon's actually a logistics business. And it's about delivery, right? And so I just want to kind of really get us as innovators to think about the hard work of the systems change, which is about, taking people along with us, getting people who are struggling to manage government bureaucracies every day to believe that they can and are in a position to do things differently, to shift political systems of power, to make the simplest things work, like whether my mobile phone actually has any data on it. I mean, the average, South Africans all have mobile phones. The average airtime balance of South Africans is R1, right? That's no data. They've never been on the internet. They've got a mobile phone, but they've never been on the internet because the search costs are too high. So there's a lot of thinking we need to do about how we combine unicorns, mules, and how we act in concert with each other, how we drive tipping points for change through combinations and collaborations. And then I want to end with this, I think, very positive truism for me, which is that unicorns hide in plain sight. Through our work with Smart Start and our broader ECD portfolio in South Africa, I am just absolutely astonished every single day by the enormous power of ordinary women, mostly, looking after children, doing what by global innovation and or learned standards might be incredibly simple things, using the found objects that they have, and delivering unbelievably positive outcomes for children. And to me, those are major assets. Those are the assets we have in social capital. They're the assets we have in abundance on the African continent, which we need to leverage and we need to grow and we need to support. Rather than imagining we need some sort of day or machine coming from outside to save our world. So I don't know if you can see the unicorn. It's like one of those spotted kind of games, but it's hiding in plain sight. And that's me. Thanks.